Oh, and hello, everybody. Welcome to the 31st episode of the Insiders on Real Estate and Marketing. I am your hostess, Sandy Hubbard, and my host here is Mr. Marc Miller, and we are here ready to talk to you about some super important stuff today with our special guest, Mr. Haas Pratt of Haas Pratt International. So welcome. Thank you for joining in. How in the world are you, mister?
I'm doing good.
Busy?
I'm busy, but right now is this kind of market environment we're in is not for the weak at heart.
No kidding. I mean, I was thinking about our show coming over here, the shifting market. I was thinking, man, I don't know if this counts, but I've had COVID, I've had beach family vacation, I've had out of the country travel, I have helped my clients, I have, continued to help make them relevant on social media, and I feel like something is off. Oh. Is it just the COVID brain, or is it a shifting market?
Shifting. Well, I mean, everything's off, as I would say, intentionally. Because that's exactly what the government wanted to do. They want to slow the economy. So they bumped the rates. I think they're going to bump them again.
Well, how the hell does that work? I mean, I do not understand that.
Well, it slows everything down because all of a sudden your mortgages are going up, so that's going to slow down qualifications. And even in the new home building side, people that contracted to buy 12 or 18 months ago are now at a point where they've got to go for permanent financing, and they qualified at 2%, and they can't qualify at 5.5%. So you're getting builder bust out on contracts.
That is real.
On that side. And inventory is just coming pretty aggressively into the marketplace. So I think that's a seller panic of, did I miss the window?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you did at the overpriced thought that you had.
Right.
So there's market adjustment that needs to be baked into the presentations, and rather than just say this, listing it for $100,000 or $200,000 over market value, that game is not there anymore.
People are still wanting to see that happen with their own.
Well, the sellers are, yeah.
The seller, yeah.
But so reality is still not quite there. I do think that there's a defalcation is going to be in our world.
You do?
I've talked to some senior underwriters and who are servicers and their portfolios, and they're having to go through the review of loans that are in default and deal with Fannie or Freddie on buyback, repurchase.
Why is that happening?
Because it's the reality of the inflation, and
they paid too much for the house; they can't afford to pay for it now.
Yeah, and that's not even the end game. The end game is going to hit when it hits in October, and taxes are due and payable, and they're going to get a notice somewhere in that fourth quarter of what their new mortgage payment's going to be, and that's going to trip another whole new experience, and we can kind of mingle into that. So it's not all bad. Our commercial is off the chart, thank goodness, and this is a time to be diversified if you're in the title business.
Yeah. Well, are you ready for summer to end and get into the fourth quarter? Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I feel, just from an attitude standpoint.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Baking in this heat, I mean, it's just kind of pleasant to wake up and not already be 87 degrees at 7 o'clock in the morning. So, and I think that contributes to everybody's mentality about,
it totally does.
Particularly when you're out there and you have to go out to do your job, right, with the realtor side of it. So anyhow, it'll be fine. This is, it's just a very unique cycle. Necessarily can't be defined at this moment in time because nobody really knows. But
we've never been here before.
Not in this kind of condition.
Well, let me say a word about secured title while we're talking about this, because in this market, the way that the situations which we've talked about the last few months, especially this summer in our episodes, how strange the market is and the different kinds of deals that are coming through and the things that realtors are having to face to get to the closing table. And so I just want to give a special shout out to our main sponsor, and that is Secured Title of Texas. And what separates them from the competition is that they can actually get the deals done when other places fail. And that's because they have a staff of veteran, experienced title closers and title personnel, starting from the top down, that know this market, they know Dallas, they understand real estate, and they make it to the closing table with you. So contact this guy to check out Secured Title of Texas and experience title the Texas way.
That's a good way.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
So tell us about our special guest today.
Well, I reached out to Hoss, and thankfully he was available, and I've known him. I've even got the Listing Boss book that I think you wrote in 2017. Is that correct? So I'm kind of interested when we flow here to kind of see where you think everything's still relevant to 2022, 5 years later. I mean, I would think so.
Really
but I'd be
anxious
interested
to
in
hear
your
about
comment.
that.
But Hoss is the CEO and founder of Hoss Press International, and he's a great resource for agents. He does training. He just did a massive training yesterday with EXP with 5,000 agents, so he had the stage to himself for 30 minutes. And you don't get that unless you know what you're talking about.
You don't.
And where did he learn that? Well, one of the things is he's a guru in terms of getting fast results, which I think today particularly is even more important.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's presented over 2,500 live and online seminars literally across the United States, knocked on over 200,000 doors, made over 300,000 prospecting and sales calls, presented at over 2,500 kitchen tables, and personally trained thousands of agents in this business. So I don't know I kind of was looking at his website. I'm like, I'm not sure what Hoss's mission is, but what I saw was I help real estate agents dominate their markets.
Right.
I mean, I think that's a good, boiling it down to a really nice,
that.
powerful statement about what you do. So
it's great.
I am delighted to have him with us, and I can't wait to have some dialogue in here.
I'm glad you made that connection.
Yep.
You know, I worked with Hoss 20 years ago. 20 years ago. And we coined the phrase in a special interview that I did with Hoss in a magazine I was publishing at the time, Real Estate Executive Magazine, called Taking the Bull by the Horns.
Yep.
And I would say, mister, that you have done that.
Grab the bull by the horns.
Grab the bull by the horns. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Well, guys, I'm hearing about a shifting market, and we've kind of teased around that, but for real, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird out there. So let's jump in, Mark, and let's see what Hoss has to say about that. And you can piggyback because your feet are in the fire on this thing every day. Let's talk.
Well, I'm going to let Hoss kind of just lead in. I mean, it's kind of what are you seeing right now?
You know what I think is weird is the market we just came out of.
Agreed.
Oh, no
Yeah,
kidding.
agreed.
Like, to me, that's the craziest, weirdest
Yeah.
market I've ever seen. And it had its own challenges. You know, I mean, especially in Dallas-Fort Worth in this market, where it's so many people coming here, created a frenzy, and you know, and there is a hangover going on right now with sellers. They're a little hungover from that experience. But the market we're going into, in my opinion, is better than the market we're coming out of. For many reasons. As a coach and trainer, that's what I do. I help real estate agents dominate their markets by equipping them with systems and tools to be able to do it. And it doesn't matter experience or anything. It just, because I believe agents need models to follow.
Absolutely.
And if you have the right model to apply massive action to, you can get through any market. And the market that we're going into, people are going to need your help more than they did in the last 3 years.
Right.
And so now it gives you the opportunity to establish your value. You know, and to me, that market's better than the alternative.
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't the agent really be concentrating on a new messaging, and really communicating? Because to your point about, I kind of like this market as well from the perspective, because now we've kind of gone back to seller paying their closing costs.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, some of the normal standard processes of buying and selling property, whether it was all in, everybody pays for everything, seller pays for nothing. And then what you got from that is you got to step back from that, and that is that you lost also other important integrity, like because the seller normally paid for the home warranty, now the buyer has to pay for it. They're like, well, I won't pay for that. No, that's not a good idea. But waiver of inspections, appraisal not being a driving part to the valuation of the property. So those kind of bringing back to more of a normal transactional environment out there versus
It was like a wild dream.
No, it was a madhouse. It was just and it exhausted everybody. I mean, everybody has to be exhausted to that side. But so what are kind of in that shift? What are you kind of leading with in your coaching?
It's
side?
the first thing is the mindset of a shift. People don't like change. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, so anytime things change, people, they get it's like the deer in the headlights. So the advice is to control your mindset and your actions. So don't sit too long because the weeds overtake the garden, in the sense of don't sit too long in a shift, wondering what you're going to do, wondering how you're going to get business, wondering, and you're trying to do it versus taking massive action fast, pivoting, adjusting quickly, not letting fear stop you from doing those things. And that's a mistake that agents make, is they don't pivot fast enough. So a pivot is important, but also looking at it the right way. Like, we're not affected as entrepreneurs, business people, real estate agents, salespeople. We're not affected by the economy. We're not affected by interest rates. We're not affected by the real estate market. We're not affected by what happens, with Washington. What we're affected by is how we react to those things.
Yeah.
Our actions, how we change and how we shift. We're affected how we react. So
that's good.
This is important now, is how are you reacting as an agent? Fearful? And what are you saying to your clients and prospects? What's the messaging? A couple things on messaging, because there is a hangover with sellers. So in this season, especially now, you want to create urgency, because right now is the best time for a seller to sell, right? If they want to sell, now's the time to do it, right? I mean, a few months ago it would have been better, but if you want to sell, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Not in a month, not in 2 months, right now. So you want to create that urgency, because it's true, right? Now's the time to sell. And in your messaging, you want to create, be direct and confident in getting a seller to see that now is the time to be realistic with price. Now is the time to get the home on the market with the right agent. And your messaging, you being more direct and with people, your prospects now is important, because you got to get them to take action. And if you don't, then they're going to wait another month.
Are there some basic things that an agent needs to know that's sort of like their go-to for messaging, their go-to for action when they are stuck in this fear of a pivot, because you can waste a lot of time just sitting there going, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So what do you say as a coach? Boom, 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 here's what you do. Every time.
Yeah, so the people don't care about you. They care about themselves, their time, and their money. So just know that. It may sound harsh to some people, but they don't. The marketplace pays you based on the value you bring the marketplace. And if you want to double your business, and you got to double the value. And doing it is understanding what people want. They want to save time and they want to save money.
Yeah, right.
And so everything you do is directed towards how you save prospects and clients time and money.
Okay.
And a way to do it is by offering it through solutions. So solution-based selling is what I call it, where if you don't have solutions that you can enthusiastically communicate, like example, Mr. Seller, my 89-point marketing plan will help you get this property sold for top dollar in the fastest amount of time. If anything can get it sold in 2 weeks at that price, it's my 89-point marketing plan, right? That's a solution that gives me a message that I can communicate. And I created the 89-point marketing plan because when I sold real estate, people ask, what are you going to do to market my home?
Right.
And they don't really want to know what you're going to do to market their home. They just want to know you got a plan. They don't say, well, what are the 89 things? It removes the doubt. And so in a shifting market, you need to establish your value and have the right message. And you do it by creating solutions that solve the prospect's pain, and they give you the words to say. And I learned that when I got into real estate in my early 20s. I talk like a country boy from Missouri, And
because you were from Missouri.
Yes, I was a farm boy. But I would take a listing a day, and I learned they don't care if I look like I'm 14 and what I sound like. They care about what is in it for me. What are you going to do to help me get to where I want to be?
What are you going to do for me?
And what people think is they think, well, here's a question. Why should your prospects use you instead of your competitor? It's a question that every agent should ask. That question. Why should your prospects do business with you instead of your competitor? And here's what I want to hear as a coach. Solutions that come out of their mouth, not experience and designations and the me.
Yep.
And that's the blind spot. So if an agent can be equipped with the solutions that give them the words to say, that give them the confidence to go to the marketplace with urgency,
that's great.
it makes them the authority. It gives them credibility. And I just feel like that solves a lot of problems.
It does.
Agreed.
It really does. The biggest mistakes to avoid in a shifting market?
Being reactive. Don't react. Anticipate. Winners anticipate, losers react.
Talk about reaction versus acting.
Well, yeah, it's about the action that you take is the most important, because you don't want to be outcome oriented. You want to be action oriented. It's easy to think, oh my gosh, I got to sell 4 homes this month. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Don't think about that. Just think about the actions that lead to that, and let the chips fall where they may. Like pick up the phone, call your prospects, call your database. Right? Do it with the
I love that.
With the anticipation.
It's kind of a Zen approach
Yes.
to living and running your business, in that you're not looking at the outcome. You're not striving to make something happen. You're living and doing now, and the happen just happens.
In this moment right now, the actions that you are doing are going to determine your success or failure in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't worry about everything. Just worry about your actions. Don't worry about the market. Let it shift. Like shift away, shifty shift. I mean, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is your actions in that. And in real estate, you can't go wrong with prospecting for new business as an agent.
So it makes me want to ask you a question. So are you old school? Are you new school? Talk to me about that. Because you and I go back quite a ways. 20 years ago, I kind of knew what you were doing to get yourself up on that magazine article and how you were prospecting then. So how much have you changed, and how much have you solidified old school marketing or prospecting techniques? Let's talk about that.
I'm thinking about this. I'm real old school in the sense of biblical truth and wisdom is what, in personal development, I find that you can't go wrong when you go down to the foundation, the truth. And I think the people that I've learned from are those people that, like Jim Rohn, somebody like him, like people that, most people I listen to are dead, because I want that wisdom. I want that truth that, you make up in numbers what you lack in skill. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Like, I believe that. I believe, if it's to be, it's up to me. That mindset is important, because it gives you the personal power. That
first.
That's it. You go to work on yourself. You bring the marketplace more value. And so from that sense, I'm very old school. In the sales side today, I'm old school, but also new school.
Yeah.
So I believe you have to have communication, conversations. I find in prospecting, picking up the phone, it to me is all roads lead to the phone.
Really?
All roads lead to the phone. Like, think about if a real estate agent's doing a Facebook ad campaign, and they have it, and they built it, and they're generating leads. What are they gonna do with those leads? What do they gotta do to convert them?
You got to talk to somebody,
How they have to call them, don't they?
Right.
So it's not a.
It's great.
You have to call anyway, so you can buy the leads and call. But most people have a lead conversion problem, not a lead generation problem. It's a conversion problem.
Yeah.
And so why are they not getting conversion? Because they don't know what to say. They don't have a message. They don't have solutions. They don't have a system that tells them what to do. Like, they don't have leads on campaigns, contacts on campaigns. But so I think that needs to happen. But here's the other side: is I think marketing is very important to a salesperson. I tell you need to stack your skills. You need to develop people skills. People skills is everything. I think it's the most important skill. People skill. Then sales skills. Then marketing skills. And then presentation skills. If you can work on those things and master each of those, that's how you will become the best version of yourself as a real estate agent. Like, for example, I didn't know when I was on the phone for 3, 4, 5 hours a day calling prospects, making hundreds of thousands of calls or knocking doors, I didn't know what it would lead to. I mean, last night I had dinner with Tony Robbins. I just spoke in front of 5,000 people. I get to help real estate agents every day. I get to help them, equip them with the tools. I did not know it would end up there.
Yeah.
So same thing with, as an agent, those skills lead to something. And you don't need to know where it all comes or where it all goes. But when you're equipped and you've done the work, I mean, I find that, you end up in a pretty special place helping a lot of people. But you got to help yourself first.
I like that. I like that. So helping others and helping your agents, how are you teaching them right now, or what are you teaching them right now are good resources to get listings in these coming months? We know that we're in a weird place. We're coming out of a weird place. We think we're going to go into a better place. Now we're going into fourth quarter. Everybody's going to be hyped up on January 1. So talk to us a little bit about how you're guiding agents for sources to get listings in the coming months.
So you have two different types of markets. You have your Met database. These are your sphere of influence.
Right.
And then you have the haven't met market. The haven't mets are people that don't know you. You don't know them. So a distinction is those two markets. It's easy to go to the Met database and get business and not know much about marketing and not have solutions. When you go to the haven't met market that don't know you, it's paramount to your success that you have those solutions and marketing and the message. So that's the distinction, right? So because some people listening maybe never gone after the haven't met market. They just gone after their database. So now in this, you're going to have to diversify and to go after not only your Met database by being the authority, helping them, educate them, right? Bringing them value.
Right.
But then you want to dominate niches.
Okay.
And in a shifting market, in any market, there's niches. And the riches are in the niches. That's a clever way. People say, well, no, it's niche. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's niche. Niche doesn't rhyme with rich. So, there's niches that 100% of the niche want to sell. I think it's a sin for an agent not to go after those people. I just do. Because listings is the name of the game. You have to control your inventory, especially in this market. So you got to control your inventory. So we want to go after people who 100% of that niche want to sell. For example, for sale by owners, expired listings. There's going to be more expireds coming on.
So those are people want to sell their house.
They're motivated for some reason.
Motivated.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to have a system marketing to them and targeting them. Also the people who need your help. So 30, 60, 90-day late mortgage leads. A great example. This is what I love about niches, because you can take anybody. I mean, this is what I do. I take any agent and help them get listings. I mean, I just had a part-time agent. I said, go. He goes, Haas, what do I do? I said, here's a system. Go after the 30, 60, 90s. Here's what you say. He works less than 2 hours a day in real estate, and he took 7 listings in the last week. Another example, an 18-year-old took 7 listings in a week. Why? Because targeting and dominating niches is the fastest way to put signs in the ground.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
And they don't care if you're 18. They don't care if you're part-time. They just care what's in it for me.
Solutions.
Yes. Yeah. And that's where agents need to be. They need to be there. And even if they're like, well, it's uncomfortable, or that's where you got to skill up. You got to become a skillionaire in the shifting market.
I love that.
You got to stack the skills. You got to put in the work. Because if you don't, you're going to be overexposed and underdeveloped. And nobody wants to be overexposed and underdeveloped.
Right.
What if I walked on stage and passed out, because I was so nervous? I mean, that would be a pretty embarrassing thing. Right. You got to act like you've been there. Fake it till you make it, but you got to make it.
That's right. That's right. Well, when you and I had talked before the show, when we were getting our script together, we were talking about 5 things that every agent must do to thrive in a shifting market. And we've already talked a little bit about this. The first one you talked about is shifting the mindset.
Yes.
Okay. Getting back to the fundamentals. Well, we kind of talked about that a little bit. Dominating your niches. Controlling your inventory. You just talked about that. And ascending your skills. So let's talk about that to finish up. We've got about 3 minutes to wrap up, guys. But I want to hear what you think about agents and their skills. What does that mean? And does that put the person who's 18 at a disadvantage of a person that's a veteran? What are you talking about here?
No, the 18-year-old has all sorts of advantages.
Yeah, right, because they've got fresh eyes.
Yeah, I mean, think about especially today's technology-driven world and how they grew up.
But what skills does an agent really need to have, and an entrepreneur, business owner?
Here's the skills. You want to get to a place where you've mastered the ability to communicate one-to-one. One-to-one. Like, being able to talk about real estate confidently, one-to-one. You could convert, you could set appointments, get to that place. And then it's one to a few. So the next skill is how do you present at the kitchen table? What do you do to lead your team? The one to a few is a style, but here's where everybody needs to get, where they master the skill of presenting one to many. Because one to many is a skill that, think about video, how important video is. Why do most people don't do it? Because they don't have the skill of presenting one to many. They don't know what to say, so they look at this thing like it's, and they freeze up. So with video and with online and virtual and everything that we do, the skill of presenting and communicating one to many, which is they're sending it out, they're not getting the feedback. You got to know what to say. You got to have confidence in your message and your delivery. And so that's what I mean by ascending your skills. Get to that place, one-to-one, one to a few, and one to many.
I love that. I love that. Well, guys, we are out of time, but I'm taking notes in my head for my own business as an entrepreneur. You've given me some real nuggets. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I would like to hear the 3 takeaways, you guys, that things that you want our audience to take home with them today. Mark?
Well, of course, I keep preaching the same thing, but I think at this moment in time, kind of to that niche side, is that to me, if I was selling real estate, I'd be calling in my database, and I would be using a consultative approach.
Yes.
The consultative approach is not trying as much about motivating what you're going to do, but how are you doing? Because the real estate market has shifted, property taxes are going to shift, hazard insurance is going up. What is the inflation side doing to your family overall in terms of your ability to live on a day-to-day basis? How does that potentially impact your use of your real estate? Is that a refinance? Is that a refinance cash out? Is it a potential sale to a downsize? Is it an opportunity sale to take advantage of now an inventory that was not there 60 days ago to that side? So I would be approaching it on more of a consulting side, just checking in with you, because every family's under some kind of consideration about my allocation of my expense side. So that I'd use that approach and then see where that leads, because I think it'll lead to conversations about options to that side. And then education is, I've seen a few things, but I thought a really good one yesterday, and it was an agent that put the cost to close a transaction 60 days ago and the cost to close one now. And part of that shifting of the bottom line was that the seller now is paying what they have not historically. So they did a really nice job of breaking it down, and it was actually more economical when you looked at it in that perspective. So that's educating someone about, hey, this is still a good time to buy a house or sell a house to that side. And then finally, as I always believe, get a coach and a mentor, and this is the time to be leaning in on somebody that can kind of help you navigate through these waters and give you some coaching support and confidence and skill sets, and also be a great candidate for that. So those are my 3.
3 good ones. Haas, what would you like to leave your people with?
I
know, right?
Here's quickly the things that is understand that you can accomplish anything you want in life and business if you have the right mindset. So always be checking and changing the mindset and growing the mindset, and having a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. 2 is having models to follow. This is important because the model is where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to think about what to say. You don't have to think about what to do. It'd be nice if somebody would just hand it to you on a silver platter, right? In my mind, that's what I do. I give models to agents. I help them change their mindset, think the right way, providing the models so they can dominate their markets that allow them to do 3, which is take massive action. That's the thing I can't do for somebody, is take the action, but I can inspire them and equip them to.
Right.
And so, yes, having a coach, but it's the model and getting in the right room, in the right proximity to around the people that will help change the way you think. And I said, like, I had dinner with Tony Robbins last night, you know, like, to me, I'm sitting there, I didn't talk, by the way, I just listened, you know. I'm like, I just wanted to hear. But, you know, in his eyes, it's interesting. He says that the market is not going to be shifted for long. After the first of the year, things will get back. Interest rates are going to come down. So tell your clients to date the rate and marry the house. You can always refi later. Get the house. And in 2008, 2009, they stopped building houses. And so we have this housing crisis where there's not enough inventory, there's not enough homes. And because of all of that, it's going to make this shift very short.
Okay.
It's what, right? So that perspective is like, oh, I mean, it's just, you know, get through it, 6 months. But we have so many things in our favor in this market that to look forward to. Right. This is not 08, 09.
Yeah.
This is not doom and gloom. This is a gift.
Yeah.
So shift with the gift.
Well,
And that's pretty good right there.
good. That's really good. Write that down. Dang.
And so that would, you know, look at it that way. Like, don't, you know, look at it with positive expectation and just do your part and grow. And obviously I'll help anybody who needs help.
Absolutely. HaasPratt.com. So please check him out. And Secured Title TX. So my 3 takeaways are, number 1, you got to take action. That's what I want to leave with you guys is if you've been a little bit like me this summer, it's been sort of, you know, playtime and think time and trying to figure out what my next steps are, la, 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 la. Well, you can do that all summer long, but you know what? It's time to take action. So I think that number 1 on your list is you got to do something and figure out what that is and take action. Number 2, I loved your Ascend the Skills. I love, love, love that because, folks, no matter what you think of it, social media is not going away. Socials are not going away. Video's not going away. It's not. So you've got to embrace it, learn how to use it, ascend those skills, learn your message. Marc's been preaching this all summer long. Know the market. Be forensic, investigate each listing, investigate each client. So all of that culminates into those ascending skills that we have to have, you know, to be able to really kick it into gear in this market and in fourth quarter. And then the last thing is, I believe, like you do, get help. You need a coach. You need a mentor. You need someone. You need coaching with Haas Pratt. You need marketing consultation with Sandy Hibbard Creative. You need to talk to a veteran title person to talk about the issues that are going on in a particular deal that you've got. Reach out and get help because we are here to help you. People out here in this Metroplex especially, there are so many people like us that are willing to help those business owners. So don't sit back in your entrepreneurial shell waiting for somebody to help you. You go out and reach out and get the help that you need. So with all these things, I think we got it all figured out, guys.
Well,
The next niche in this market.
At least for this episode.
Yeah, at least for today. At least for the rest of August, anyway.
Right.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next month, September, on The Insiders, Real Estate and Marketing. Ciao.